Have you ever gone for a bass swap and when you do, the exiting track drops out dramatically, making your transition sound a little bit empty and kind of crap? Now, it could be two things, okay? Number one, you're swapping at the wrong point in the track and cutting sections in half, which can sound unnatural. Or you're one of the many people out there that believe that you have to take out the bass entirely and swap the basses aggressively. And sure, it feels great to do a hard swap, okay? But there's a time and place for harder and softer bass swapping. And in this video, I'm going to explain the difference between both and give you a strategy to up your EQ game. Now, I'll give you a few examples of when hard and fast bass swaps are really awesome. So firstly here, hard swaps work really well when there's a fair amount of bass in both tracks, and also when your new track is starting to kick in or has something going on, as the last thing you want to do is swap your basses and make your new track dominant when there's little to nothing happening, as honestly, that can sound like an anticlimax. So let me give you an example of that. I always like to give myself a little bit of time to beat match before mixing in. In this case, I'll just take the bass out. This isn't about those ones, not this video, okay? But okay, the bass is down, okay? And let's say I just go for a hard swap here, for instance, okay? I'll show you. Okay, I'll change, right? Bang. Okay, to be honest, it's the wrong point in the track, okay? Because this one's still killing it. This one's still essentially kind of an intro. Okay, so that's like, you know, what you want to do is you want to kind of, hopefully this one drops off as this one kicks in. I see it drops kicking in. That's probably a good time to do it, at least move with what the song's doing naturally. Okay. Okay, and that's the hard swap. To be honest, it's aggressive, it's strong, people love it. And you know, if there's bass in both tracks and this one's starting to kick in and that one's dropping off, 100% man, go for it, go for it. How long you play them both together kind of differs depending on which part of the track you're mixing into. But there I've just come in over the outro, this one's kicked in, done a swap, take this out, cool. And that's fairly straightforward. That's when it works. Now, another place that it works, okay, now this actually feels really good, but it doesn't make that big a difference, I personally think. But I do hard swaps quite often when mixing into the breakdown. So let's say I've got a track here, okay, and let's say in the middle here it drops off and there's nothing pretty much, right? Well, to be honest, as long as you say I mix in there and I want to keep the beat going and I don't want to go into that break, which is awesome. Well, yeah, sure, 100%. I come in, do a hard swap, and it doesn't really matter because there's nothing real bass or nothing there that I'm really taking out. So it just kind of like, it feels cool. So I love that, okay? We're going to get into what not to do in a second, but this is sort of, you know, when I probably would do quick, like, you know, when I mean by hard bass swaps too, like the full way, okay? And then I'm going to show you when it can sound empty and sound shit, okay? And how that mixing with the EQ should be a bit more of a flexible thing, okay? Give myself some time to beat match. I love that. Cool. I'll take my bass out. Again, I like using more of the EQ, but this is about bass swap in this video. So because I've got those there up, I might just come in carefully. Okay. So let's say now I mix in my new track. This is dropping off. Great time to mix in my bass. Sure, let's go for it. Okay, cool. And me taking that out, like I said, there's not really anything there. Okay, and I could just fade that out. This one kicks in. So another great place to do hard swaps. However, hard swaps sometimes sound kind of shit, okay? Especially if you want to maintain some kind of warmth in the exiting track and play both tracks together, especially when doing sort of, I guess, mashups on the fly. So let me show you, okay? And I'll be honest, I think a really good way to excel as a DJ is to record yourself and listen back. And I'll be honest, people might not have picked up on it, no one said anyway, but in the recent live stream that I did, I was listening back to that, and to be honest, there was just a point where I could hear it. I just took the bass out too aggressively and didn't really leave enough warmth in the exiting song. And it kind of, when I was hearing it, I was like, you know what, I could really improve on that. And that's the beauty. You record, you listen back, you find ways to improve. And in my course too, I listen to student mixtapes as well and give them that kind of feedback as well, and just how to kind of up their game and tighten their skills. So this was a mix that I did, okay? And I'll show you the vision here, and I want to talk it through. And the goal here, what we're about to talk about, is that bass swapping and taking it out a certain way should be flexible based on what the songs are doing, okay, and how much bass there is in both tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a beat into this breakdown here, but because the bass drops off there anyway, right, but there still is stuff happening. In the last one there was a break completely, so I just went for it. But in this one, it's going to drop off and there's going to be some vocals there. And you'll hear, even though the vocals are essentially this one, but the bass kind of contributes a little bit. And I like having a little, sometimes not going the whole way out, because that you're going to hear, I'll show you in a second, how that can make it sound empty. Sometimes I might just take that down less, depending on how much is going on and kind of reading the waveform. So in this case, if it's not that much bass there, there's probably no harm. And sure, I put the bass of this one in. I come in, that allows me to come in underneath. I get the bass going, this one's going strong. And maybe I'll take a little bit of that out, sure, to make this one the dominant track. But I do want to maintain some warmth. And let me show you. So, okay, so cool. Okay. Cool, okay. I'll come in gently. Okay, so this is what I did. So I'll show you, I did a hard swap, okay? So listen, it's not great. Have a listen. So I go for the swap. Okay, now that's that kicking in. But listen here to that vocal. It's a bit thin, empty. You know, listen, if I add some warmth to it, it sounds better. Okay. And now it's really interesting because this one's about to go to bass and this one's going to drop off in the bass. So if I had that down, which I did, listen, I had that down, listen. Okay. But now, listen to that. That's empty. That's why you've got to be flexible. See, if I had that still in a bit and hadn't really overcommitted in the first place, this would sound better. Okay. But then again, like I said before, you've got to be conscious of what the songs are doing. This one's about to go to a drop. It's about to kick in. Okay, creating space for the drops, that's a powerful move. At the end of the day, using the EQ should be flexible, and ideally it gets to a point that you understand it so well that it kind of becomes intuitive, right? Making all your transitions seamless every single time, no matter the genre, no matter the transition point. Now, personally, I love EQ mixing, and by far this is one of my specialties. And in my course, I break it down big time, and I can explain it in a way that will make sense, and it'll transform the way you look at DJing possibly forever. Like it's a big thing. Now I know that's a big call, but everyone's always telling me how the course is blowing their mind, and I'm receiving daily messages from students sharing their accomplishments, and it's actually blowing my mind. I want to blow yours too. Anyway, the link for the course is in the description. I'm sure it can change things very quickly for you. It's got a lot of support. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers.